Being alone, your greatest advantage. Listen to me. I know it gets lonely. I know you feel like nobody understands you. But let me tell you something, being alone ain't a weakness. It's a weapon. It's in the quiet moments, when nobody's watching, when nobody's clapping for you, that's when the real you is built. You say you're alone. Good. That means no distractions. That means no one's holding you back. That means it's just you versus you. And let me tell you, if you can conquer yourself, there's nothing in this world that can stop you. So stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop waiting for somebody to come save you. Nobody's coming. You gotta save yourself. You gotta use this time alone to sharpen your mind, strengthen your grind, and level up like never before. Because when you come out of this, the world won't even recognize you. Being alone is an opportunity, not a setback, because it gives you the space to grow, to reflect, and to build yourself in ways that are impossible when surrounded by noise and distractions. Most people fear being alone because they associate it with loneliness, but true growth happens in solitude. When you are alone, you get the chance to hear your own thoughts, to understand what you truly want, and to figure out who you are without the influence of others. Too often, we rely on external validation to feel worthy, but being alone strips that away and forces you to validate yourself. This is where self-confidence is built. This is where true self-awareness begins. When you are constantly surrounded by people, it becomes easy to lose yourself in their expectations, their opinions, and their beliefs. You start shaping your life based on what others think you should do, rather than what you are truly meant to do. Being alone removes all of that. It allows you to silence the external world and focus on your own vision. This is where clarity is found. You begin to see what matters, what doesn't, and what is worth your time and energy. Without this clarity, you risk spending your life chasing things that were never meant for you in the first place. Solitude is where the greats separate themselves from the rest. It's where champions are made. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by constantly being surrounded by others. They spent hours alone, working, thinking, and creating. They embraced solitude because they understood that it was a chance to refine their craft without distractions. Think about the greatest athletes, the most brilliant minds, and the most successful entrepreneurs. They all had seasons of isolation where they locked in, focused on their goals, and built something extraordinary. They didn't see being alone as a punishment. They saw it as an opportunity to get ahead while everyone else was busy seeking comfort in company. Most people run from solitude because they are afraid of facing themselves. They don't want to deal with their insecurities, their doubts, or their fears, so they keep themselves distracted with constant social interactions, entertainment, and noise. But if you want to grow, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to be willing to sit with yourself. You have to be willing to confront the parts of you that need improvement. Growth isn't always comfortable, but it's always necessary. The moment you embrace being alone is the moment you take full control of your life. You stop depending on others for happiness, for motivation, for direction. You realize that everything you need is already inside you. You just have to tap into it. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you become unstoppable. You no longer fear being left out because you understand that being alone is where you gain your power. You no longer need constant validation because you validate yourself. You no longer seek approval because you have already approved of yourself. This kind of independence is rare, and it is what separates leaders from followers. The people who truly make an impact in this world are those who are comfortable being alone, who use their solitude to grow, and who refuse to let the fear of isolation hold them back. Being alone gives you time to develop skills that will set you apart. It allows you to read, to study, to practice, and to refine your abilities without distractions. While others are wasting time in meaningless conversations, you are building something valuable. While others are afraid to be alone with their thoughts, you are using yours to create strategies, to plan, and to execute. Solitude is a training ground for greatness, but only if you choose to see it that way. It is not a punishment, it is a gift. It is the space where ideas are born, where discipline is forged, and where success begins. When you embrace being alone, you become a master of your own energy. You stop allowing people to drain you with their negativity, their doubts, and their fears. You learn to protect your peace, to be selective with who you let into your space, and to value your own time above all else. This kind of mindset shift changes everything. Instead of fearing solitude, you start craving it because you understand its power. You begin to see that the more time you spend alone working on yourself, the more unstoppable you become. Most people will never reach their full potential because they are too afraid to spend time alone. They avoid solitude at all costs, not realizing that it holds the key to their success. But those who understand its value embrace it fully. They use it to get ahead, to grow, and to become the kind of person who doesn't need anyone else to push them forward. They become self-sufficient, self-motivated, and completely in control of their destiny. They don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They don't depend on others for direction. They carve their own path. They don't fear being alone because they know that solitude is where the real work happens. If you shift your perspective and start seeing being alone as an opportunity instead of a setback, everything changes. You stop feeling sorry for yourself, and you start using your time wisely. You stop looking for distractions, and you start looking for ways to grow. You stop waiting for someone else to push you, and you start pushing yourself. Solitude is a powerful tool, but only if you use it correctly. It is not a time to feel lost or abandoned. It is a time to sharpen your mind, to strengthen your discipline, and to build the foundation for your success. The greatest transformations happen in isolation, but only for those who are strong enough to embrace it. Solitude builds disciplined focus and self-awareness because it removes distractions and forces you to rely on yourself. It is in those quiet moments when no one is watching that true discipline is developed. When you are alone, there is no one to hold you accountable, no one to remind you to stay on track, and no one to push you to keep going. That is where real self-discipline is tested. When you learn to push yourself without needing external motivation, you become unstoppable. You start to understand that success is not about doing things when you feel like it, but about doing what needs to be done, no matter what. Focus is a rare skill in a world full of distractions. Most people struggle to concentrate because they are constantly surrounded by noise, social media, and other people pulling them in different directions. But when you are alone, you have the chance to train your mind to focus deeply on what matters. This is where mastery begins. The greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and creators did not build their success by being constantly distracted. They spent hours alone practicing, refining, and sharpening their skills. They embraced solitude because they understood that deep focus is only possible when you remove everything that does not serve your purpose. When you are alone, you start to become more aware of your thoughts, your emotions, and your habits. You begin to see patterns in your behavior that you may have never noticed before. This is where self-awareness is developed. Most people go through life unaware of why they do what they do. They react instead of responding. They follow routines without questioning them. But when you take the time to sit with yourself, you start to understand what drives you, what holds you back, and what needs to change. This level of self-awareness to what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. Solitude gives you the space to reflect on your goals and your progress without constant input from others. You can think clearly about what you truly want. Too often people chase goals that are not even theirs. They pursue careers, relationships, and lifestyles based on what society expects rather than what actually fulfills them. But when you are alone, you get to ask yourself the real questions. What do I want? What makes me happy? What am I willing to sacrifice for my dreams? This kind of clarity only comes when you have the discipline to sit in solitude and listen to yourself. Most people avoid being alone because it forces them to confront their weaknesses, but facing your weaknesses is the only way to overcome them. When you spend time alone, you cannot escape from yourself. You see your flaws, your doubts, and your fears with full clarity. This is not something to run from. This is something to embrace, because once you are aware of your weaknesses, you can start working on them. You can develop the discipline to improve, the focus to refine, and the self-awareness to grow into the person you were meant to be. Solitude, your habits are formed and reinforced. If you want to be great at anything, you need time alone to build the routines that lead to success. Whether it is waking up early, training for hours, studying relentlessly, or practicing a craft, it all happens in solitude. It is easy to stay disciplined when people are watching, but the real test when no one is there to see if you stick to your word. That is what builds true character and mental toughness. Ability to sit in solitude and be productive is a skill that very few people develop. Most people need constant stimulation, entertainment, or validation from others to feel satisfied. But those who can embrace being alone and use that time effectively are the ones who rise above the rest. They learn to work without needing applause, to stay committed without needing encouragement, and to push through challenges without waiting for someone to save them. Solitude is not a burden, it is the ultimate training ground for discipline, focus, and self-awareness. No one is coming to save you. You must save yourself, because the truth is nobody cares about your dreams as much as you do. Nobody is going to wake you up in the morning and push you to chase your goals. Nobody is going to put in the work for you or sacrifice for you like you need to. You have to understand that if you want something in life, you are the only person who can make it happen. Too many people waste their time waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect manner, the perfect opportunity. But the harsh reality is that waiting will get you nowhere. When you rely on others to push you forward, you are giving away control over your life. You are allowing circumstances and people to dictate your future. But when you take full responsibility for your success, you realize that nothing is stopping you except your own excuses. The most successful people in the world did not sit around waiting for someone to give them a chance. They created their own opportunities. They didn't complain about their situation. They worked to change it. They didn't expect handouts. They put in the effort to build something for themselves. The problem with waiting for someone to save you is that it makes you weak. It creates a mindset where you believe that your success is dependent on someone else's actions. That kind of thinking keeps you stuck, because no one will ever care about your success more than you do. You have to be the one who wakes up every day and decides to put in the work even When you don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own biggest supporter. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. Most people will never reach their full potential because they are waiting for external validation. They want someone to tell them they are good enough. They want someone to approve of their dreams. But the truth is, nobody is coming to do that for you. The only person who can give you permission to be great is yourself. If you keep waiting for someone else to tell you that you are ready, you will never start. If you keep looking for someone to hold your hand, you will never learn how to stand on your own. The people who win in life are the ones who take action without waiting for permission. Life is not fair, and it never will be. Some people will have more resources, more support, more connections, but none of that matters if you are willing to outwork everyone else. The most powerful thing you can do, accept that you are responsible for your own destiny, and then act like it. Stop looking for shortcuts. Stop hoping that someone will come along and make it easy for you. There is no easy way out. There is only the hard work, the discipline, and the commitment to keep going no matter what moment you stop expecting someone to rescue you is the moment you become truly free. You stop waiting and start doing. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You stop blaming others and start taking control of your own future. That mindset shift changes everything, because once you realize that you are the only person responsible for your success, you stop wasting time and start making things happen. You become relentless in your pursuit of your goals, because you know that no one is coming to do it for you, and that is the most powerful realization you can ever have. Use alone time to sharpen your skills and mindset, because this is the period where true growth happens. When you are alone, there are no distractions, no outside influences, and no one pulling you away from what truly matters. This is the perfect opportunity to focus on becoming better at what you do and strengthening your mind for the challenges ahead. The most successful people in the world understand that mastery is built in solitude. It is in those long hours of practice, in those quiet moments of reflection, in those disciplined routines, that greatness is developed. Most people waste their alone time scrolling through social media, watching mindless entertainment, or making excuses about why they are not where they want to be. They see solitude as boring or lonely, but the truth is, solitude is where champions are made. It is where you separate yourself from the competition. While others are out looking for distractions, you are in the lab working on your craft. While others are complaining about being bored, you are sharpening your mind and preparing yourself for success. While others are looking for someone to entertain them, you are building something that will change your life. For your skills are like a blade. The more you sharpen them, the more powerful they become. But if you neglect them, if you allow yourself to be distracted, if you refuse to put in the hours alone refining them, they will become dull and ineffective. When you have time alone, you have a choice. You can waste it, or you can use it to get ahead. The people who succeed are the ones who take that time and invest it wisely. They read, they study, they practice, they train, they do everything they can to become better every single day, because they know that preparation in solitude leads to victory in public. Mindset is just as important as skill, if not more. When you are alone, you have the chance to reprogram your thoughts, to remove negative beliefs, and to build mental toughness. Most people never do this because they are too afraid to face themselves. But this is the key to success. The way you think determines everything. If you see solitude as a weakness, you will never use it to your advantage. But if you see it as a gift, as a time to train your mind and make yourself stronger, then you will come out of it a completely different person. Alone time is when you build discipline, and discipline is what separates winners from losers. It is easy to work hard when someone is watching, but can you push yourself when no one is there to hold you accountable? Can you stay focused when there is no one clapping for you? Can you stay committed when no one is telling you to keep going? That is what defines success. Those who use their alone time to develop ironclad discipline are the ones who achieve the impossible because they do not need external motivation. They create their own every hour you spend alone, sharpening your skills and mindset, an investment in your future, while others are wasting their time on meaningless distractions. You are growing, you are evolving, you are setting yourself up for long-term success. This is the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. Those who succeed understand that alone time is not a punishment, it is a privilege. It is the moment when you become the person you are meant to be, the moment when you take control of your destiny, the moment when you stop waiting for things to happen and start making them happen. When you emerge, you'll be stronger, wiser, and unstoppable, because solitude is not just about isolation, it is about transformation. Most people fear being alone because they associate it with loneliness, but solitude is where growth happens. It is where you develop the resilience, the mindset, and the skill set that will make you unbeatable. The process of being alone is not easy, but it is necessary because it forces you to face yourself, to work on your weaknesses, and to build yourself into a person who no longer depends on external validation or approval. Every challenge you face alone makes you stronger because it teaches you how to handle difficulties without relying on anyone else. When you train yourself to push through adversity in solitude, you become the kind of person who does not break under pressure. You develop mental toughness that allows you to keep going even when everything around you is telling you to quit. This is the strength that separates those who succeed from those who make excuses, because those who have trained in solitude have already conquered their biggest enemy, themselves. Wisdom comes from self-reflection and self-awareness, and these things only happen when you take the time to be alone. Most people go through life reacting instead of thinking. They follow the crowd instead of questioning their direction. But when you spend time alone, you start to understand yourself on a deeper level. You recognize your patterns, your triggers, your strengths, and your weaknesses. You begin to see things more clearly because your mind is no longer clouded by the noise of the world. This is where true wisdom is developed, the kind of wisdom that allows you to make better decisions, to avoid unnecessary mistakes, and to move forward with confidence. A solitude gives you the ability to master your emotions because you learn to control your thoughts instead of letting them control you. Most people allow their emotions to dictate their actions, but those who have trained in solitude have learned to manage their feelings. They do not react out of impulse, they do not let fear stop them, and they do not allow doubt to control them. Instead, they move with purpose, with clarity, and with an unshakable belief in themselves. This emotional mastery is what makes you unstoppable, because once you are in control of your own mind, nothing and no one can stop you, and you finally step out of solitude. The world will not recognize you because you will not be the same person who entered it. You will carry yourself differently, you will think differently, and you will operate on a different level. While others were distracted, you were sharpening your skills. While others were wasting time, you were building your discipline. While others were looking for motivation, you are creating it within yourself. This kind of transformation is what makes you unstoppable, because you no longer need external forces to push you forward. You have already built the habits, the mindset, and the resilience that guarantee success. The world rewards those who are prepared and those who have used their solitude wisely. Always the ones who rise to the top. The difference between those who struggle and those who succeed is simple. The successful ones did the work. When no one was watching, they trained. When others rested, they studied. When others were entertained, they sacrificed comfort for greatness. This is why, when they emerge, they are ahead of everyone else, because they did not waste the time they were given, they used it to become the best version of themselves.